Yeah, that's the other thing, Tibbs. You got to come up with different things that make sense, and then you got to try and balance it. May have been a bad idea from the start. Okay, Mage Dell and Folt against Are You Copy Dog or Unbalanced Card User? Ratbo, Apep, Diona, Morellia. Very unusual to see a Morellia in a 2v2 game. Pick a perk from any of the other master perks. Okay, so we got lots of pebbles. So one of the proposed changes in the PTR, we got a Glenn's Brew in there, not going to do too much. Gets a bit of value though. Monkey's still going. One of the proposed changes in the PTR was to reduce the lifetime of pebbles. I think I would prefer a range reduction of pebbles. It doesn't feel right that you can spawn them basically on the bridge or in the middle and that they can still defend your face. Do you want to defend the bridge or your face? Yes. Okay. More pebbles than a beach. Okay, so we've got a small XP lead for the blue team right now. Jolo grabs the bridge. One of the beautiful things about Jolo is because he's a Scrat, he has a very low weight. Because he has low weight, pretty much everything pushes him. So you can grab bridges from almost anything with the collision. Right, here comes the Rimagal's Breath. Rimagal's Breath, remember, is kind of bugged at the moment. It shouldn't hit air units. And it shouldn't freeze fucking anything that goes near it. Did you join the... Oh, you did join the PTR, didn't you, Tibbs? Make sure you fill out the feedback thing. Okay, so a Daka, but not a very good Daka. Remember, the Daka does damage based on the number of friendly units, including your teammates. And there was basically no one alive. Okay, making sure they shut down Ruffles at the top there. Not sure it was worth it, though. They saved Ruffles from grabbing 2 mana, but that Defenso Chopper got murdered on the bridge. Always got to come up with good ideas. Right. The Breath didn't seem to do too much there. Glenn's Brew keeping the monkey alive. Just keeps pressure on that top bridge. Once you see your opponent's got a Battle Monkey and Glenn's Brew, you need to just have in your head that you've got to deal with that appropriately, because that thing can get out of control. Especially against Ratbo with all the little scrats to trigger it. The thing with Rimagal's Breath is, especially in Mana Frenzy, when you double stack it on the bridge, it's so powerful. It's like a bridge burn on steroids. Would you say it's a bad idea to continue? It's only a bad idea if you're not winning. If you're winning, it's a good idea. The problem is when people force theme decks that aren't really working out. Like, it's kind of fun to have a theme deck at times, but not if you're just getting shredded each time. It's just like if it's working. If it's working, of course, stay with it. If Scrat that does well, there you go. Not all factions are created equal when it comes to whether it makes sense to play a theme deck. Like, if you've got a Scrat deck, it depends on what Scrat deck you've got. If you've got a Scrat deck that's got a number of cards that benefit from Scrat Swarm, then it makes sense to have a lot of Scrats. If you don't, then it's not quite so important, because there's no real benefit apart from the multi-unit Daka, which you can get from any multi-unit. But if you've got things like the Zeppelin bomber in there, you've got Smegma boomstick. Okay, remember, Battle Monkey's going to get shut down by the Defensos, so no opportunity there for any sort of Glenn's Brew nonsense. Good XP lead for the blue team at the moment. So using the shield at the bottom there as a wall. Now, if the proposed changes go through for Apep's Totem, then you basically get a free wall. Right, they do have a Curse Bearer available. Don't be like the guy that I played in with randoms the other day. He had a Curse Bearer, and every time the opponent spawned their dragon, he would play his Curse Bearer on the opposite lane. Drove me fucking mad. Okay, again, not a good Daka there. They could have worked together a bit more and got some more units out, because remember, the Daka does take into account your teammate stuff. Okay, Ruffles gets shut down. XP leveling up. Rimagal's Breath coming in. So I think, what does it do? 200 damage, the Breath, per stripe. So if you stack them up, that's 400 damage on both bridges. That's a fucking lot of damage. Almost at Mana Frenzy, this is where you want to just try to put the pressure on the bridges, just to get that small lead. But here comes the Breath. The Breath's kind of awkward, because obviously you have two distinct areas where you are aiming at. If you can get value in both of those areas, that's where it's awesome. But look at this. That just shreds everything. Holy shit. Okay, so we've got Mana Frenzy for the blue team. They do have the bridges right now, so they've got a good chance to really push this home. Okay, that's a decent Daka, because it takes out the Whirly, which was the AoE at the top. Lot's going to survive at the top because of that, but here we go. You see, all over the bridges. Look at that Breath. Wow, they've got multiple Breaths. Okay, we didn't see that before. Bladestar, of course, can get insane value. Don't see it too much, though. But the blue team, it feels like the blue team have had good control of the bridges. They should have a very solid position here. But again, the Rimagal's Breath comes in, does a lot of damage. Scrittillery takes out the defense in the pocket. Okay, here we see the double Breath. It's not quite double, but look at that. It just clears the bridges. Something fierce. Drops the stun in there as well. Mountain Shaper, though. Is it just me, or is Mountain Shaper too strong? Like, if you think about it, you don't have to kill that much to get the value for the mana. What, 7 mana? And you think in like, Mana Frenzy, you can spend 7 mana to kill, like, 30 mana's worth of shit. Kind of insane. And it got buffed as well. It's a strange buff. Right. Like, it goes so deep as well. Okay, we're nearly 10 minutes in. Again, here comes the breath. Going to shred all the back line. Right, Battle Monkey, but the Defenso Chopper's being such a nightmare. That Battle Monkey would start shredding everything. Glenn's Brew was a little bit mistimed there, so it ended up on the Whirly instead of the Battle Monkey. Here comes the breath again, clearing everything. Yeah, there's certain cards that are really helping in this situation, and some are not. Like the blue golem's doing fuck all, really. Okay, so we're seeing a bit of a cycle. The blue team lose control, Mountain Shaper clears everything. Blue team get a bit of control, Rimmergul's breath clears everything. Okay, Dakar on the Battle Monkey is great. That's exactly what they want. Okay, here comes the breath again. But when they... I mean, that wasn't a great breath, but they've got another one, so it doesn't matter. You look at all those pebbles just wailing away. Look at the range on it. The blue golem's going to melt before it barely gets on the bridge. Breath comes in. See, now this is looking stronger for the red team right now. Surprised we didn't get a Glenn's Brew on the Battle Monkey at the bottom, but maybe not worth it. But there you go again. Big clear comes in. Nearly 12 minutes in. If someone messes up the clear, it's a lot more easy to mess up the Rimmergul's breath than it is Mountain Shaper. You can't really miss with the Mountain Shaper. What do you want to hit? Yes. Done. Long game mode enabled. Hopefully you guys have got snacks for this one. Here we see the double breath. Murdering just about everything. Nobody's really getting any sort of distance into the enemy territory. Okay, again, the Glenn's Brew keeps the Battle Monkey alive, but really at what cost? This is just constant bridge fighting. Okay, suddenly the blue team get a bit of pressure at the top. And here you've got to manage the bridges as well as defending your face. The pebbles, of course, are really good, but if they're spawned defensively like that, then the blue team's going to be able to put more pressure on the bridges. Blade Star just bouncing about. Blade Star, if it's just bouncing off a lot of scraps, it's not going to do too much. Battle Monkey at the bottom might kill everything, but it's going to die, of course, from the Glenn's Brew. Okay, we're 13 minutes in, still going again. The freeze at the top on the Golem. So again, the blue Golem really just not doing enough. Right, Battle Monkey's behind enemy lines for the first time in a while. Glenn's Brew could be available on it. No, it goes down. Okay, now suddenly the blue team's defending really deep. Grenadier doing a good job at the top, though. Does get taken out by the Blade Star. But pushing into all these pebbles, it's really frustrating. Just look at the range of them. Clearing the bridges, allowing the red team to push through. Here comes the breath again. But the red team looking like they're in control at the moment. They've had both bridges for a few moments. And they can use the Rimmergul's breath to support their pushes, where the red team can't really use the Mountain Shaper to support their pushes too much. Right, here comes the breath. Mountain Shaper, of course, clears everything on the bridge, as well as the pebbles. All the pebbles dead there. Right. Reset. Go again. This is like basketball. Blue team's time to push and attack. Yes, we've all grown beards during this match. Ruffles grabbing some extra mana. You've got to be careful in Mana Frenzy with Diona. If you're getting that mana from Ruffles, you've got to make sure that you've got enough space to receive that mana. If you're already at 9 or 10 mana, you're just going to waste that. Right, here comes the pushes again. We've had both teams get through to the opponent's face, kind of. That's a nice Dagger on the Battle Monkey. Need to be very careful with burning mana in this situation. Every mana matters. Okay, good DPS. Scrutillery. We haven't seen Scrutillery used that often, but it's being used when necessary. It's important to use things. Don't feel like you have to use things. Right, again, Rimagal's Breath. Not clearing too much that time, but there's another one. That's going to clear more. Okay, looks like we're getting some mana being burnt here. Need to be careful with that. They got Defensos on both lanes at the moment. That's going to be so difficult for all these melees units to push into. Scrutillery to support, remove the backline. That Grenadier, very important to get rid of. Okay, again, the Grenadier at the bottom trying to get some value. Nice clear on the Whirly. The Warrior's not going to do too much at the top there. It's got the Battle Monkey for support. But we've seen the Battle Monkey Glenn's Brew combination really just failing to do too much. It's got so much to push into that's terrible for it. The Defenso, the wall. That's really shutting the melee down. We're 16 minutes in. We're still going. Which way do you think this is going to go in the chat? Who's going to win? Red team, blue team? Okay. It's an okay Dagger, but the Battle Monkey really is the Dagger target of choice. Money thinks it's going to be a draw. Okay. Huge clear. Here comes the swarm of blue. Rimagal, it's going to shut it down though. The breath, not only does it kill, but it freezes as well. But remember, frozen things do take 50% less damage, so they do become suddenly very tanky. But the Defenso is a great thing to, if you're playing against the freeze, because although the Defenso gets frozen, it still does its return damage, its stun. So the freeze doesn't hurt it quite so much. Okay, we're nearly 18 minutes into this game. An absolute cracker of a replay from Folt. Huge breath, clearing everything. Bladestar struggling to get too much value. At the end it got some more value, to be fair. But not really enough. It's not really a proper clear spell. And that's why it's not getting too much value. There's too many things for it to bounce off. There's no real way to get it into a pocket and shred. Okay, Scrutillery gets both of those Grenadiers. That's important. The Grenadier can just be so much value in this type of a match. And again, trying to get some mana at the bottom. Ruffles going in. Ruffles gets that extra 2 mana. Hopefully there was space for that to be taken. And if we look at the health bar, the red team has been slowly taking a little bit of health damage over time. A few things just getting to face. We've seen Scrutilleries in the pocket doing some face damage. And it really feels like the blue team has a lot more face damage potential. There we go. They're really pushing in there. Scrutillery into the pocket. Red team has to spawn defensively. That allows the bridges to be controlled for a good period. But here comes the Rimagal's Breath. Doesn't clear everything, but then here comes the freeze. Next breath. 822 HP. Remember, Ruffles can be getting some heals. Okay, it looks like the blue team have decided that they're going to start cycling on face. They've had enough of this. Sometimes you have to decide to do that. Otherwise, these games could go on forever. But you've got to be careful, because once you start putting that mana on face, you can lose control of the bridges. But it looks like the blue team are controlling the bridges better now they're going for face. How does that work out? Ruffles going for a heal. Ruffles gets shut down, though. That could be important. 250 HP lost. Scritillary doesn't do too much face damage, but because it drops the Scrats, it does make the red team have to spawn defensively, and then they can't put quite so much pressure on the bridge. Again, Scritillary in the pocket. Yeah, maybe they decided, they looked at her watch, like, I've got to go soon, let's finish this. But it's strange that since they went for face, they seem to have more bridge control. And that's it! 20 minutes, 20 seconds. What a game. Good job, everybody. That's a long one.